Hey, what's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? It's Living Lawrence coming at you live from Ottawa, Canada, holding it down home invasion show. Home invasion style is what I'm trying to say. And today we're going to be talking about my review of Ma, that movie. Goddamn. I want to talk about something personal right after. All right, I'm going to talk about the review first, and then I want to talk about something personal. Because goddamn, man, yo, this movie was parallel to real life pretty much, you know what I mean? Like, been through it is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so Ma, if you don't know what Ma is, it's a horror thriller. Not really a horror movie, but more like a suspense thriller type movie, right? And it's the newest movie put out by Blumhouse so far. And yeah, so pretty much synopsis is a lonely woman befriends a group of teenagers and decides to let them party at her house. Just when the kids think their luck couldn't get any better, things start happening that make them question the intention of their host. Some crazy ass shit. This movie stars Octavia Spencer, Diana Silvers, Juliette Lewis, right? I'm a 90s kid, grew up in the 90s, born in the 80s, so Juliette Lewis, yo, I've been watching that. I want to talk a little bit about that, you know what I mean? So, that's the synopsis of the movie, and it's some crazy shit. All right, so let me talk about the good before I talk about the bad. All right, the good is it felt like a '70s grindhouse movie. You know, I got the same vibes as I think Ty West did this movie. It was called House of the Devil. You know, so to me, it just felt like that. It felt on the same vibe, the same tip. To me, it's like, yo, they should have just went full blown and made it into like a 70s movie. Like you could still keep it in the same time setting, but do like the credits in like the 70s grindhouse type shit. You know what I mean? Like the 70s crawl, the big title, you know, shit like this. Kind of like what House of the Devil did, you know? I was like, yo, if they did that, it would have been perfect. You know, it would have been real good. I would have scored a little higher for them. You know what I mean? Shit like this. Octavia Spencer, she did a real good job. You know, I'm not used to seeing her in a role like this. Honestly, I think this is the first time she was ever in a role like this where she was all creepy and stalkerish and you know, shit like this. Usually you see her, she's like one of those timid type characters in other movies, but in this one right here, nah, you know what I mean? She's pretty much a psycho, you know? And the movie was heavy on the Misery vibes, you know? That movie with James Caan I'm talking. I'm not talking about like the legit word Misery. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if y'all seen Misery, this is up the same alley. You know what I mean? So on like I like Misery. I thought Misery was pretty dope. And this one right here was on the same tip, same vibe. And you know, it could have been as dope as Misery. I could have put it in the same category as that movie Misery. But you know, there's certain things I just didn't really vibe with. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Nah, I can't do this. You know, so it kind of knocked the movie down a couple, you know. Again, Juliette Lewis, she playing a mom in this movie, and it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, yo, I'm really getting that old, you know, because growing up, again, Juliette Lewis, she usually played a daughter. She usually played, you know, from Cape Fear, she was the daughter, and damn, yeah, I'm pretty sure she was in Natural Born Killers. I might be wrong, but pretty much, yo, like, watching her growing up as a little kid, I'm like, man, you know, she was always playing a daughter, and now today, in this movie, she's pretty much a mom. And I was like, yo, I'm really getting old now. You know, it just made me feel old. And I was like, yeah, you know, straight up. So it's cool to see her play that role, whereas before she used to be playing a daughter type and shit like this, you know what I mean? I thought she did really good, you know? I thought she did a real good job. Especially considering that I haven't seen her in a while. I haven't seen her act in a bit, to be honest. And she did it good. She did real good. There's barely any jump scares. There were a couple here and there, but I felt like it was earned rather than it was being cheap, right? And to me, you know, being a kid from like the 80s and 90s, man, I can't stand jump scares. You know, like nowadays, if you look at a movie and it's considered horror or it's considered a suspense thriller like this one right here, it's measured with the amount of jump scares that it has. You know, so if it has a lot of jump scares, then technically this movie's scary. And I can't vibe with that. I can't mess with that. You know? To me, it's like, yo, it's the opposite. It's stupid. It's cheap. You know what I mean? It doesn't make the movie scary. It just, you know, it's just kind of like all flash, no substance, pretty much is the best way I could put it, you know. So this one right here, it did have a couple here and there, not too many. I can't really count like too many jump scares, but the ones that they had, it was earned. It wasn't like a toaster popping out, you know, and shit like this, like that Silent Hill movie. Crazy shit, you know what I mean? So they didn't have none of that. It was all dope like this, you know. And again, it was relatable to my life. You know, some crazy shit happened to me in my life, and I was like, yo, it was almost eerie how close this movie was to my life. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, some crazy shit. I'm like, yo, when am I gonna get my royalty check, man? I mean, they changed it up and up. You know how Hollywood do. You know, they take a based on a true story type thing, and then they change it up in order to make it Hollywoodized or whatever. It was pretty much the same like this, you know. And we'll talk about that afterwards, all right? And again, man, like I said, it reminded me of Misery, and it was on the same vibe as that movie. And if it was done in the same style as House of the Devil, it would have been a better movie, you know. Okay, so let's talk about the negatives, the bad. All right, characters do 180s. You know, it's almost like bipolar syndrome. At one point, they all cool with another character, and then out of nowhere, the next scene, it was like a 180, and they all being like an asshole to him and like flipping down and shit like this. I was like, yo, are we missing a scene? Is there something that we missed? Because it was like, you know, it's just, I don't know, it didn't vibe well. It was kind of jarring, you know? That I didn't mess with. There's especially a scene where the daughter kind of like just comes home and she starts like flipping out on the moms, you know? And I'm talking about like Juliette Lewis and her little daughter or whatever. And she just kind of like starts flipping out on her and everything else. I'm like, yo, dog, this is unwarranted. Why are you flipping out? You know? Even with teen angst, I didn't buy it. I'm like, nah, you know? And there was a couple other characters too that kind of pulled 180s. I can't really, you know, that one stuck out for sure. But I can't really name the other ones, you know? But, you know, watch the movie. You'll see what I'm talking about. All right? The good thing about Octavia Spencer's character is that she did it real good. She was all scary looking and shit like this, you know what I mean? She really fit the vibe of being scary. Stalkerish, psycho, all of that, right? But the only thing is, though, she was rocking scrubs because she played a veterinarian or like a nurse in a veterinary hospital. She rocked those scrubs for like 95% of the movie, right? And it just got to a point where I was like, yo, she got nothing else? Right? Other characters, they got different clothes. You see them different days and they changing out their clothes and stuff like that. And I understand, yo, most of the shit that she's, like most of the scenes that she was in was supposed to be like after work or going to work. So she's rocking the scrubs. But to me, it's like, yo, mix it up a little bit. To the point, I feel like she took a jab at her own character. Right? There was a scene where this dude that knows her from way back in the days, he walks into the hospital, the veterinary clinic, whatever, and he sees her, like, yo, long time, blah, blah, blah. And then he ends up inviting her to dinner. And he's like, I'll come right after to pick up my cat and we'll go to a bar or whatever. And she's like to him, I can't be rocking in my scrubs. You know, I got to go home and get changed first. So I'll meet you at 6 or whatever. In my mind, I'm like, it's not like you weren't rocking your scrubs to begin with. You know what I mean? What's one more scene? You know? So I was like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just, and another thing about, another strike I had with the character is that she was so like oblivious and so distracted and stuff like this. The veterinary doctor kept getting at her. He's like, yo, get off your phone. Or like, are you going to answer the phone when the phone's ringing or whatever? And she's like on her cell phone. She's like totally disregarding everybody, staring out in the distance, outside, right outside the window and shit like this. I'm like, man, you know, how is this lady still not fired? You know, it doesn't seem like she just out of nowhere developed these characteristics. It seems like these characteristics were inherited. Like she was bringing those characteristics to the job. And I was like, yo, like, how can she still be employed after this? You know? Crazy shit. Those are two things. I was like, you know, I'm kind of nitpicking on this, but I was like, yo, it doesn't seem believable at this point, you know? But yeah, the backstory. See, the thing about Misery is that they gave you the character, right? And they told you that she's just a fangirl, pretty much, of the book. She loved the book that James Caan wrote, you know? So they just left it at that. They didn't tell you why she fell in love with the book and the characters that James Caan wrote in his book. They didn't tell you what those characters meant to her or how relatable they are to her or whatever. They just kept it at that. She's a psycho fangirl, and that's that. Right? So that's dope. This one right here, it just kind of blew out some of the mystique, some of the, you know what I mean? Like, some of the magic, I want to call it. They pretty much gave you Octavia Spencer's character, Sue Ann. They gave you her backstory. And they just made her seem kind of sympathetic. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, why are you making her seem sympathetic or whatever? You know what I mean? Especially considering that she's doing all these harsh, nasty ass things. You know what I mean? Like these evil things, these violent things, pretty much. Why are you going to make her sympathetic like this? You know? To me, it's like, yo, we're not going to be rooting for her to, you know, like, could you imagine Jason Voorhees, for instance, all right? He drowned and his mom kind of came out, spoiler alert, you know, for those that haven't seen Jason, even though it came out like 20 years ago. His mom kind of like went around the camp, Crystal Lake, and started killing off people and everything else because they were doing their own thing. They were distracted and they let Jason drown after being bullied and he kind of got thrown into the lake, right? That is the story and that's that, you know. After the second, third, or fourth, after like Jason Voorhees became such a popular character and they brought him back in the movies, they never went, like, they would mention it. They would say, oh, you know, like he was drowned or whatever. But like other than that, they don't mention him being bullied or whatever. You know what I mean? As far as I know, you know. Again, the movie came out like 20 years ago and shit like this. So I'm just talking off the dome, you know. But to me, it's like, yo, if you make a character sympathetic, then we kind of, again, sympathetic, right? You feel sorry for the character. You feel sorry, and then you start to be like, you know what? I can see this happening and stuff like this, you know? And like, I don't blame her for doing this. But in my mind, I'm like, yo, they should have just kept it as her being a psycho, and that is that. Just leave it at that. You know? You don't make Norman Bates sympathetic. You know, you just make him a psycho. You know? How can you make somebody that fell in love with his mom, you know, and like infatuated with his mom sympathetic? You know? So to me, it's like, you'll carry that trait over into this character right here. Don't make her sympathetic, dog. You know what I mean? Just keep it the way it is. She's some psycho, crazy-ass lady. You know what I mean? And she's just doing her thing. You know, sometimes we don't need a motive. We don't need a motive as to why people are doing some of the things that they're doing. Right? 9 times out of 10, like, there is no motive. As far as we know. You know, they could be hiding that shit away from us. But as far as we know, human beings, like real, talking about like in the real world, you know, you never know what the motive is behind sometimes people doing their thing. But shit like this. Okay, Luke Evans was in this movie. He played one of the parent to the high school kids, right? And I've only seen Luke Evans, I think, in 2 or 3 movies. And I was like, yo, he's starting to become like one of my favorite actors or whatever. But there was a side of Luke Evans I did not want to see in this movie. All right. This movie, I know sometimes in the States and in Canada it's kind of different. In the States, they gave it an R rating. In Canada, I'm pretty sure it's a PG-13. But they really earned that 13 is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? And in my mind, I've always been like equality kind of guy. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, all right, if you're going to be doing one thing to please a certain group of the fans, or the audience, or the viewers, y'all got to be doing the opposite to appease and please the other side, right? So to me, they did something with Luke Evans' character, and I'm like, y'all, that kind of tipped the scale. Where's the balance? You know what I mean? We got to see someone else. But they didn't. And it just felt like it was the uncut version, right? They didn't air the theatrical cut. Instead, it was just the uncut version, and they just threw it in theaters. And more power to them. They actually did that. Dope. That's good on them, you know what I mean? Because, like, yo, I would hate for them to cut out certain scenes that didn't really make the cut, you know? And there was a scene where somebody ends up getting a blood transfusion from a dog, right? So it was pretty much canine blood. And they're getting a blood transfusion like that. And just seeing that, I was like, yo, it just got me thinking. I'm like, what's the repercussions? Like, you know, like, what kind of shit would happen to a human being if they actually got that, right? Anybody that knows science or biology or whatever, let me know in the comment section below how that affects a human being if you do a blood transfusion with, like, animal blood on a human being, you know? Crazy. And, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much some of the things I had. Some of the issues were major, some of them were nitpicking or whatever, but all in all, the movie was pretty dope. It's actually better than what I thought it was, and heavy relatable. And when I'm saying heavy relatable, I'm talking like pretty much I lived this right here. You know, this lady went all psycho and shit like this, and she started stalking this person, even down to the point where they blocked her in the movie. They blocked her, and then she ends up getting a new phone. She ends up hitting them back up on social media. You know, I've had that, and I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of people can relate to this shit right here. You know, so on that aspect, the movie is grounded in reality, right? The movie it gives it that sense of gravity, where it's not too much in the extraordinary kind of thing. You know what I mean? And because of that, I thought the movie was pretty dope. You know, out of 4 stars, because I do 5. I don't do odd numbers even all day. Out of 4 stars, I'll probably give it 2.5. If they did it the way I said it was, you know, if they did it like the way in the 70s Grindhouse type shit, and if they just cut out the backstory entirely and just kept her cycle with no backstory, we don't need no rhyme or reason, I think I would have given it a 3. You know? That's it, that's all. Let me know what y'all think, though. Have you seen the movie? Ma? Have you seen Ma? If not, do you want to see it? Let me know in the comment section below. Did you vibe with it? Did you like it? Do you agree? Do you disagree with what was said? Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at LivinLarge187 is where you can find me. Once again, at LIVINLarge187. That's where y'all can find me, Twitter. And that's that. We're going to kick back to the tunes, though. Time now is 5:33. And we got some more music coming at you right here. We're keeping it in South Central. We got Havoc and Prodigy featuring LV with the summer vibes, keeping that going because, you know, we having a summer weekend pretty much, sunny all around. And, you know, pretty much playing the soundtrack to your life. It's on a mission. Havoc and Prodigy featuring LV, South Central Cartel in full effect. Y'all already know what it is. You rock with Living Large. It's the Home and Base Show, baby.
Dang. Oh, man, there go my beeper. Oh, that's Prodigy.
Gotta turn it down. You already know. I'm not trying to get flagged, right? So, Blumhouse's new movie, right? This is coming off the news that Blumhouse, or Todd McFarlane actually, may not release his movies. He might walk off the set or whatever, you know? When it comes to Todd McFarlane, I never really thought much of it. He's the Dr. Dre. When it comes to Spawn, Part 2, the actual live-action movie or whatever, Todd McFarlane happened to be the Dr. Dre of comic book industry, entertainment, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. But it's all good, though. We talking more. Let me know what y'all think. Comment section below. Do what you got to do. Facebook, YouTube, y'all already know what it is. And once again, at Living Large 187 is where you can find me. Living Large, on it down. Auto Canada. Home Invasion Show. Take care of yourselves and each other like Jerry Springer say. Peace out, y'all.